All right, in order to make these events happen, we need all of our officials right now. Let's make some noise for our officiating team. Your head referee this morning, Del from Hell.
Tight pack formation here, starting at the jammer line. Jamming for Puget Sound Outcasts will be number 53, Speed Dealer.
That's 85, Shreddy Mercury on the track for Bridgetown Menace. Tight pack, some good defense out in front for Bridgetown.
Yeah, Don Juan, the Devastator, was staying on the outside line, staying on top of Speed Dealer. He gets recycled to the back. Nice move by Cosmo Damage right in the middle, try to bridge there. Shreddy Mercury pushed to the infield by the pivot. Quadzilla, number 23 from the Outcasts.
Don Juan, Devastator, and Sam Miller, last line of defense, but getting through is Speed Dealer for Lee Jammer, Puget Sound Outcasts.
Working at the front as the pivot, that's Sam Miller, number 08 for the Menace, joined by Cosmo Damage. He gets knocked out. Now it's Earl Slick working with Sam Miller.
Some great defense from both teams. Early score, 0 for Bridgetown Menace, 2 for Puget Sound Outcasts. This is, of course, a 60-minute regulation MRDA sanctioned bout. And I am super excited to get the call with the elegant and lovely Ms. Spider.
You usually ditch out on me right at the last minute, don't lie. Cougar bait. Number 27 now donning the star on behalf of the Menace. He's trying to push through the last line of defense up at the front. That'd be Thunderstruck.
Both jammers in the back of the pack trying to make their way in. Not a lot of space at the front.
Scott Slamilton, 10.0 pulls through. First and cleanly, he gets an assist at the front of the pack by Thunderstruck. You have some movement by Jukebox Hero and Munster. Munster taking a spill right in front of Corey Payne, the pivot at the front of the pack.
Cougar Bait tried to sneak in there for some points, but he missed out. It looks like 0 points awarded. Want to remind everyone that there is food at this event, courtesy of Kay's Bar and Lounge, and they are downstairs. Yesterday they were cash only, and you can get cash if you need it right over here at the skate rink, across the way.
A mere jaunt. First time the line for the Outcast is going to be 2468 Dilly Dally. He's currently the youngest skater on the Outcasts.
That's number 7, Elysium, grabbing lead jammer for Bridgetown Menace.
Going into the third jam, this is exactly what the Menace needed. The Outcasts was sort of dominating that role for the first 2 jams and pulled through first. However, the honor now, Elysium. Oh, cut track penalty on Dilly Dally. This is a power jam in favor of Elysium.
Some great defensive work there in the pack for Bridgetown Menace, forcing that cut track. And it's going to be a minute for Elysium to try to put some points on the board for Bridgetown Menace.
Huge takedown by Radillac on Elysium, forcing him to the infield as Corporal Punishment then moves way back, forcing Elysium to enter behind him, slowing him down. They're trying to stave him off from putting points on the board.
All right, so he lost his skates, and it's called a low block. Intent does not matter with a low block. He came in from behind, and so he's going to spend the difference between the 2 jammers' time in the box.
Correct. The roles are going to be reversed as soon as he sits down in the chair. That's going to release Dilly Dally 2468. Now in an alternate power jam, looking to advance the score here. Puget Sound Outcasts currently with a lead of 5.
Sam Miller, last line of defense, chest to chest, getting some help from Earl Slick, playing tough defense out in front for Bridgetown Menace.
Oh, no pass, no penalty on Dilly Dally. But we have Quadzilla, the star pass there to number 23.
Bridgetown Menace, Cosmo Damage, side to side with Quadzilla. Some jostling for position in the pack.
We're gonna have 3 more points put up on the scoreboard on behalf of the Outcasts.
All right, and the board says tie. The board says it's 5 up. Whoop. Let's switch that around a little bit. 5, Bridgetown Menace, 8, Puget Sound Outcasts.
So the Menace able to shut down some of that point differential, now currently sitting at a 3-point difference in favor of the Outcasts. Dragon as number 99. A recent addition to the Outcasts. He's going to pick up a cut track.
Jukebox Hero helping out by showing him exactly where the cut took place. Skaters are really helpful like that.
And Elysium was released from the penalty box. He's now back on the track. Corey Payne with a force out on the straightaway as Thunderstruck heads to the penalty box for the Outcasts.
Elysium being way recycled into the back of the pack. Some great defensive play there from Puget Sound.
Corey Payne goes in for a huge shoulder check. However, he's forced out by 2-1-6. Juke blocks Hero.
Elysium grabbing lead jammer for Bridgetown Menace.
Elysium looking for a little bit of assist on the inside, but Demolition gets pushed into the center of the pack as Elysium gets forced out on the apex.
And calls off the jam. We want to do a shout out for Blaze Streaming Media. All of these MRDA sanctioned bouts are available on your home computer, courtesy of Blaze Streaming Media, iPads, various mobile devices.
They bring all the good stuff. So we're now at a tied score between the Outcasts and the Menace early on in this game, as we only have 23 minutes and 18 seconds left on the clock.
Number 85, Shreddy Mercury on the line for Bridgetown Menace.
Second time as the jammer here for the Menace so far in the first half, and he pulls through, picking up lead jammer.
Bridgetown Menace opting to take the back. They've got all 4 blockers on the track. Pack advantage favoring PMRD right now.
Dragon Az was trying to push his way through that line of defense in the back. He then gets through the front, gets pushed down by number 512, Cosmo Damage.
And that means that the Bridgetown Menace Power Jam will continue courtesy of that track cut. 8 up right now. If you have a beverage, good time to take a sip.
Radalak getting pushed to the infield for the Outcast. That leaves Corporal Punishment, Quadzilla, and Thunderstruck.
5 big points there for Shreddy Mercury as he makes his way through the pack. And that's a lead for Bridgetown Menace.
Huge hit on Corporal Punishment, knocking him down the apex. He's going to go up against Earl Sick. He gets knocked to the infield. He's going to be forced to the back of the pack. We're going to have some bridging by Don Juan and Cosmo.
Shreddy Mercury trying to make his way past. Last line of defense, Quadzilla. Jukes and jives. 1 to beat. He's on a skate, and he gets through for 5. Great agility shown there, Spider.
Huge jam on behalf of the Menace, bringing them to a 10-point lead.
We mentioned at the top, only 1 place between these 2 teams, according to MRD official rankings in July. So there's a lot on the line this weekend for both teams. Number 5 and number 6. Puget Sound 5, PMRD 6.
Nice work by number 13, Clydesdale. He worked on the inside there. Cougar Bait now attempting to get around Corey Payne, number 19.
Cougar Bait trying to make his way through, takes a shot, and it looks like a forearm was picked up
by Corey Payne.
So we can't initiate contact with the forearm. That's a bad thing. That'll send you to the penalty box. But grabbing lead jammer is Cougar Bait, number 27, for Bridgetown Menace.
Rob Lobster sitting in the penalty box for what I believe was a multiplayer block. 3-on-3 in the pack. Oh. Cougar Bait now sitting down in the penalty box. It's a power jam in favor of the Outcasts. That's Dragonaz, number 99.
Jukebox Hero, part of that tractor trailer, trying to put the stops on, but getting through for 5.
Dragonaz used to skate in Tampa, Florida before moving up here and becoming a part of the Puget Sound Outcasts.
That brings us to 13 for Puget Sound, 18 for Bridgetown Menace, and getting through again, that'll tie it up. 5 points picked up on the pass by Dragonaz.
Vito, Slamilton, and Hollywood working in the back of the pack. Vito goes in to try to assist Dragonaz. He gets caught up.
Getting some help from his offensive blockers there as they try to make some space on the track. Dragonaz recycled all the way to the back of the pack.
Dragonaz now taking on Rob Lobster as he runs a positional block on him. He tries to evade him going on the inside line. He actually gets taken down by number 13, Clydesdale, right to the infield, recycled way to the back of the pack.
All right, so the score's being updated right now. It appears we have 20 for the Puget Sound Outcasts, 23 for Bridgetown Menace, inside of 19 minutes in the first half. And back and forth so far.
Earlier in the season, the Outcasts took on the Menace, and essentially the Menace led the entire game until almost the very last jam, I believe.
Elysium wearing the star once again for Bridgetown, number 17.
Cosmo Damage was holding the inside line, try to clear a pathway for their jammer. Elysium works out well for them. Earl Slick now staring down his opponent, speed dealer number 53. Earl Slick's joined by Sam Miller and Bruce Payne.
Sam Miller with some huge shoulder work there. He's got a hockey background and you can see it right now on the track.
Dilly Dally working with Quadzilla. They're in tandem. Radillac and Bowser holding the middle of the pack. Speed Dealer got through on that initial non-scoring pass.
Some love taps going on there. All right, we want to thank Viso Energy Drink, one of the sponsors for this weekend's festivities. I think I could use a couple energy drinks right about now.
Shreddy Mercury, number 85, donning the star for the Menace, and that's Corey Payne. He pulls through first. Scott Slamilton goes in for a hit. We're gonna get a blocking out of play on Scott Slamilton, the pivot. He's headed to the penalty box along with Jukebox Hero.
And both jammers rushing in. It looks like points exchange 3-2 on the pass. Bridgetown Menace outscoring them by 1. And we're just waiting on an update for the score.
Cougar Bay, number 27, pulls through first. Corey Payne and Dilly Dally currently sitting in the box, so pack advantage in favor of the Menace. Menace currently with the lead. Oh, we're gonna have a 5-point scoring pass for Cougar Bay as Quadzilla heads to the penalty box. Power jam in favor of the Menace. Radillac and Corporal Punishment working in tandem up at the front of the pack as Dilly Dally trying to bridge the pack.
Cougar Bait with 5 on the last pass, 5 here. That's 10 points so far on the jam for Bridgetown Menace as he continues to try to wind his way through that tough Puget Sound defense. That's 5 more, 15 on the jam. A little bit of a gap opening up here. Looks like we've got a 21-point bout right now.
This is where power jams definitively make the difference. They can rack up a huge amount of points if they can get through, and it comes down to numbers. The Outcasts had less skaters on the track, and they were not fielding a jammers. QUADZILLA currently sitting in the penalty box.
And Cougar Bait doing a good job of picking his spots there as he tries to make his way through. And he stepped on the inside line. He's going to go to the box for a minute on a track cut.
Strong four-wall at the front of the pack, and now we have a two-wall with Cosmo and Sam Miller as they try to take down QUADZILLA. Scott Slamilton and Corporal Punishment try to get in and break that up.
And you can see from up here, Sam Miller calling out those defensive plays as they try to put the stops on. Very vocal, that communication so clutch.
Pirouette by QUADZILLA as he makes his way around. He does not pick up lead, of course.
All right, can we please have the captain for Deep Valley Belligerents go to the front door? The captain of Deep Valley Belligerents, please report to the front door.
We have a team timeout for the Outcasts. Coach Beasy, they're calling a team timeout for the Outcasts with the largest lead thus far in favor of the Menace, 47-22 against the Outcasts with 14 minutes, 1 second left on the first period clock. If you want to send in a heavy hitter for the Outcasts, Corey Payne is the one they send in. Corey Payne now going to try to make his way around. Demolition Man, number 357. He's going to pick up lead jammer's status on behalf of the Outcasts. Four-wall now in the back by the Outcasts. Hunter holding the inside. Huge four-wall, though, at the front of the pack, and Corey Payne muscles his way through for a 5-point scoring pass.
Did a great job of lowering his shoulder and making his way through there. You can see Puget Sound opting to take the passive approach to playing the power jam, and now getting some help from offensive blocking. It was passive-aggressive, Spider.
Corey Payne trying to get around Herman Munster. He gets through for another 5-point scoring pass. Cougar Bay back on the floor now, trying to make his way around that positional block by Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck with a nice booty block right into the inside of the track.
Cougar Bait back with us, and Corey Payne calling off the jam, but they close that gap down, so it's 32, Puget Sound Outcasts 34. Bridgetown Menace 47 with 12:50 in the half.
However, going into this next jam, pack advantage in favor of the Bridgetown Menace as two blockers currently sitting in the box for the Outcasts. Dun, dun. I believe it's the second time that Dilly Dally has donned the star here in the first period. He does a nice little juke there, trying to make his way around number 512, Cosmo Damage. Oh, right around Radillac, right at the front of the pack. Elysium, number 17.
Elysium through, but he had an improper pass. He was not able to get lead jammer. And he does hit the pack first. He's got one to beat, and he's pushed out of bounds, not realizing he's not the lead jammer. He tries to call it off.
Dilly Dally now trying to get around Earl Slick and Don Juan, the Devastator. He pulls through for a 4-point scoring pass on behalf of the Outcasts. Earl Slick working with Miller, Cosmo Damage, and Don Juan in the pack for the Menace. Quadzilla goes in for an assist. He tries to break through and create a little bit of a window there for Dilly Dally to hop right through, but nice reformation at the front there on behalf of the Menace with Don Juan, Miller, and Earl Slick.
With Bridgetown hitting the pack first, Dilly Dally elects to try to pick some points up late in that jam. All right, so we've got blue and gold for those of you at home, Puget Sound Outcasts, and Bridgetown Menace in gray and black. 40 for Puget Sound, 52 for Bridgetown Menace. And we're so happy you joined us at home this morning. Bagels, coffee, and Spider and Shove.
And the gatekeepers, ND Valley. Scott Slamilton trying to force his way around Jukebox Hero and number 357, Demolition Man. Shreddy Mercury is going to pull through first. Scott Slamilton making his way around number 82, Herman Munster.
Both jammers haul and tail. Looks like Bridgetown Menace have a 2-wall set up in the back. Shreddy Mercury calls it off. 1 point awarded. Good hustle there at the end of the jam.
So remember, right after this bout, it will be Deep Valley Belligerents against the St. Louis Gatekeepers. I feel like I've seen him before. Number 27, Cougar Bait. And number 53, Speed Dealer.
Cougar Bait trying to make a wedge in the middle of that pack. He's getting a little help from his friends as Bridgetown Menace are trying to sweep out those blockers at the front of the pack.
Oh, Don Juan with nice maneuvering at the front of the pack. We're going to cut track penalty assessed now to Speed Dealer, number 53. Power Gem in favor of Cougar Bait, number 27 for the Menace. He's trying to muscle around Quadzilla. Nice force to the infield on Sam Miller. Corporal Punishment going to head to the penalty box to join Speed Dealer.
Quadzilla showing off that agility one-on-one with Cougar Bait. Cougar Bait face-to-face, chin-to-chin with Quadzilla, makes his way by, and he is now your lead jammer for the Bridgetown Menace.
Cougar Bait skated for the Outcasts last season and a great addition to the Menace as it goes to show 5-point scoring pass for Cougar Bait. Dilly Dally Quadzilla working with Little Timmy and the 3-wall up the front of the pack. Cougar Bait goes in for a little bit of a pirouette, makes his way around Dilly Dally. Quadzilla now handling him in the front as Dilly Dally tries to bridge the pack. Quadzilla pushes out Cougar Bait and Little Timmy moves way back. Quadzilla then bridges the pack. Dilly Dally then bridges the pack. And they forced Cougar Bait to call off the jam.
Menace doing a great job there of isolating a blocker to try to slow that pack speed and give Cougar Bait an opportunity to pick up some points.
But genius defense on behalf of the Outcasts as they prevented him from just running away with it.
We're down to just about 8 minutes left in the half. We have Puget Sound blue and gold. And Bridgetown Menace gray and black, 63. Puget Sound 40, and Elysium grabbing lead jammer for Bridgetown Menace.
Scott Slamilton, 10.0, headed back to the penalty box for a multiplayer block with Hendrick. Corey Payne, the pivot goes in for a huge hit on Elysium.
He laid down the smack in turn 3. Elysium coming back into the back of the pack, and it looks like back but not the lead jammer is Speed Dealer.
Nice jammer awareness by Elysium as he knows Speed Dealer is quickly encroaching on the back of the pack, and he calls off the jam.
Once again, if you're hungry, and I know a lot of you are because it's early, Kay's Bar and Lounge has got food just downstairs. It's cash only, but straight across the way at the rink, you can grab some money, which is cool.
Shreddy Mercury for the Menace against Dilly Dally 2468. Quadzilla is the pivot up in front, working with Ratalack and Thunderstruck. Shreddy Mercury getting shut down by a huge hit by Ratalack, and it doesn't even knock him down. He just spins around, stays on his skates as he goes to the inside and jumps around Quadzilla.
Showing off the moves out there is Shreddy Mercury as he made his way to lead jammer, and he definitely earned that one.
Nice juke by Dilly Dally. Jukes to the left, and then he does a little spin and then moves around to Earl Slick, number 24, last line of defense.
Getting some help from his friends as he gets back into the pack. Shreddy Mercury's assisted by Earl Slick and Sam Miller out in front.
The Menace inching up and increasing their lead, now sitting at 71 to the Outcasts 40 with 5 minutes and 53 seconds left in this period.
It's plenty early. The caffeine probably still hasn't kicked in for everyone. We'll see what happens in round 2 after a short break right in the middle of things.
First time donning the star is Hollywood. Chuck Hendrick, 24/7. Quickly pulls through to take lead jammer status. Scott Slamilton now pulling up the back of the pack. Rob Lobster working there at the back for the Menace.
Elysium with a 360, getting down low, keeping on his skates. Great low center of gravity there for Elysium.
A few more points put on the scoreboard for the Outcasts by Hollywood.
Once again, reminding everyone about one of our proud sponsors for all the festivities this weekend, Viso Energy Drink. If you're anything like me, you probably need a couple at this time in the morning on a Saturday, Spider.
Current pack advantage in favor of the Menace as Vito currently sitting in the penalty box. The Menace going to send in Cougar Bait as he tries to pull around the pivot. Quadzilla, nice assist, the front of the pack by Sam Miller.
Cougar Bait grabbing that lead jammer, and last line of defense, Sam Miller, and he whiffed a little bit there with the backside.
Cougar Bait now pulls around Ratalack. Corporal Punishment goes in for a hit. Hammer and nail by Quadzilla, and Cougar Bait stays on his feet, puts his hands to his hips. Captain Obvious, number 440, actually jumping up and down on the bench.
The last time I saw that, I was watching Olympic figure skating. That was amazing. 42 for blue and gold. That's Puget Sound Outcasts. Black and gray, Bridgetown Menace at 76.
We're going to have an official review now by Susan B. Anarchy.
All right, so a little clarification going on in the middle.
Winch, is that low enough? Do you want it lower? Okay.
Hello, good morning. We doing all right?
I'll be very quiet. It'll be just like I'm not here. Scott Slamilton donning the star, but Shreddy Mercury, number 85, pulls through on behalf of the Menace. Nice movement there by Clydesdale, number 13, as he works the front of the pack with 216, Juke Blocks Hero.
And back in the pack is Shreddy Mercury. He's trying to make his way in the middle past Corey Payne. Corey Payne plays some tough defense. Clydesdale helping out with an offensive block there.
Shreddy Mercury pulling up for another 3 points on behalf of the Menace. That's going to bring them to 78. The Outcasts currently sitting at 42 with 3 minutes, 6 seconds left in the first period. Rocket Queen with the whistle, allowing all the skaters to leave. Speed dealer number 53 going up against Elysium. Radillac now trying to stay on top of Elysium. Nice work there by the pivot. Number 55, Corporal Punishment. Oh, huge takedown by Earl Slick on Corporal Punishment.
Sam Miller playing defense there for Bridgetown Menace, but getting by is Speed Dealer for Lee Jammer, Puget Sound Outcasts. Tractor trailer action going on in the middle of the pack. Earl Slick, Sam Miller, Cosmo Damage up at the front playing tough defense on Speed Dealer.
Earl Slick goes with a force out. However, the honor goes to Sam Miller, forcing out Speed Dealer right on the straightaway. Speed Dealer able to put a couple points on the scoreboard, bringing Bridgetown Menace 78, Outcasts 45. About a minute and a half left. Scott Slamilton, 100. Against Cougar Bait, number 27, he tries to get around Thunderstruck on the inside. Munster goes in for a hit. We're gonna have Thunderstruck headed to the penalty box to join Vito. Oh, Hendrick goes in for a swing on Cougar Bait, but misses the mark.
There's a gaping hole on the inside. Cougar Bait sliding through it, grabbing that lead jammer.
3 more points on the board for the Menace. Potentially one more jam in this half.
And it looks like back to the line for Bridgetown Menace number 85.
Going up against Quadzilla, number 23, Shreddy Mercury tries to usurp through and get through on the inside line. Nice assist there as they try to take out Radillac, number 35, the Bison.
Sam Miller helping to break that up, and getting out first is Shreddy Mercury for Lee Jammer, Bridgetown Menace.
The Menace holding on to that momentum as the period clock comes to its fruition. Maintaining that lead, Quadzilla actually gets knocked out on the straightaway. He's getting recycled way to the back of the pack. However, so is Shreddy Mercury by Dilly Dally. He then makes his way around Dilly Dally and Radillac.
That was Sam Miller with the big recycle there of Quadzilla. Shreddy Mercury calling off the jam.
Going into halftime. Welcome back to the second half of the Bridgetown Menace versus the Puget Sound Outcasts. Just a little bit of information. The Outcasts are currently sitting on approximately 16 minutes in the penalty box, which certainly could be reflective of the current score, with advantage 40 points in favor of the Menace, as they spent total about 7 minutes in the penalty box.
And right now, no one in serious penalty trouble. It looks like our high penalties are 3, which is tracking for just about where you want to be at the half.
I prefer to be at 0. It's a good thing I'm an announcer.
If you don't get some penalties, you're not really playing, Spider.
Oh, now you tell me. Oh, how interesting. The scoreboard is now reversed in order to confuse me. So the Bridgetown Menace now on the left-hand side, Outcasts on the right. Again, 40-point advantage in favor of the Bridgetown Menace.
And once again, blue and gold are the Puget Sound Outcasts. Gray and black are the Bridgetown Menace.
Looking to shift up the momentum going in the second half. The Outcasts are going to field Speed Dealer as their jammer, going up against Shreddy Mercury, number 85. I feel like that's where we left off with Shreddy Mercury going out of the first as the jammer for the Menace.
Earl Slick doing a great job of sealing the front so that Shreddy Mercury could get out of the front of the pack for lead jammer, Bridgetown Menace.
Nice this by Corporal Punishment as he knocks a pathway for Speed Dealer. Sam Miller, Don Juan at the back of the pack. Sam Miller now working his way, trying to get around Corporal Punishment.
A little bit of a race back to the pack. And it looks like we might have an official discussion.
Official.
Reminding everyone once again about Viso Energy Drink. You can see it right there by the Bridgetown Menace bench. And apparently they've got a whole bunch over there, which is part of what powers the Bridgetown Menace and one of our very proud sponsors for all of the men's derby this weekend.
We're just going to do a little bit of track cleanup. I fear some bodily secretions may have ended up on the track. By that I mean sweat.
Thank you.
I know I needed to clear that up for you, Shovecraft. Oh, Shove.
When we get back to it, we're just seconds into the second half. We've actually got a bout following this. This one is number 5, Puget Sound Outcasts against number 6, PMRD in the MRDA rankings, and that'll be followed by the second half of the doubleheader, which is number 8, Deep Valley Belligerents against the number 2, St. Louis Gatekeepers. Lots of man action this weekend.
Scott Slamilton donning the star on behalf of the Outcasts. Cougar Bait getting shut down by Hollywood and Dilly Dally. Scott Slamilton pulls through cleanly and first.
And it looks like Puget Sound opting to set up in the back with that 3-wall. Bridgetown Menace all walled up in front and a big collision. And it looks like that was just good skating. Dilly Dally through.
And nice maneuvering by the Outcasts. They all pull forward to protect their points. So Scott Slamilton pulling up some points, or pulling down some points for the Outcasts, bringing them to 49.
49 to 85.
Little Timmy being waved off the track as Hunter currently sitting in the penalty box for the Outcast. Speed Dealer now holding the last line of defense along with Quadzilla trying to stay on top of Elysium.
Elysium with that 360. He is by for lead jammer, Bridgetown Menace, and some great skate agility out there.
Clydesdale and Earl Slick riding on top of Dragon as maintaining position with a nice positional block. That's Earl Slick. Earl Slick, known a lot for his really heavy hitting, so he just kept back Dragon Az for about 3/4 of the track.
And Clydesdale and Sam Miller doing a good job of sealing that edge to open it up for Elysium to get through for a 5-point pass. That's a grand slam.
And this is now a power jam in favor of Elysium. Dragonaz sitting in the penalty box. This is the second or third time Dragonaz has been sent to the penalty box, and it looks like the Menace going to call it off. We're going to start out with a fresh jammer for the Bridgetown Menace.
And once again, if you are hungry, and I know a lot of you are, head downstairs, check out Kay's Bar and Lounge. They have food for money. It's a new concept, food for money. And if you don't have cash money, you can pick it up right across the way at the skate rink.
Jukebox Hero, Rob Lobster, Demolition Man, and Munster all just using that passive offense as they pull to the back, slow down the pack. That creates an opportunity for Shreddy Mercury to get through. Nice sweep by Herman Munster. Thunderstruck goes in for a block out of the front as the last line of defense against Shreddy Mercury. However, Shreddy pulls through for a 5-point scoring pass.
Juke blocks Hero with some great offensive blocking to open up a hole in the middle of that pack for Shreddy Mercury.
Thunderstruck then using Hollywood as a pummeling ram as he knocks Hollywood into the infield. We're going to get a force out, I think, by Thunderstruck right on the straightaway on Shreddy Mercury, but he pulls down 3 more points on behalf of the Menace, so that's 98 in favor of the Menace to 49 Puget Sound Outcasts.
25-40. Once again, Puget Sound in blue and gold, Bridgetown Menace in black and gray.
A different formation starting out at the pivot line. Ratalack, Bowser, Corporal Punishment, and Quadzilla working 4-wall in front. Quadzilla looks to shut down Cougar Bay. Bowser goes in for a hit to the infield, but he takes himself out of play as he hits the floor.
I hear the pivot line used to be quite trendy. Maybe it's coming back in style.
Oh, Cougar Bay just slips on through.
Cougar Bait with 2 to beat. Quadzilla part of that defensive effort right now at the front of the pack. Some big hits.
Nice defensive wall at the back there by the Menace. Quadzilla, again, trying to stave off Cougar Bait. Ratalack now moving to the front as the pivot. Sam Miller moves up to try to create some room there for Cougar Bait. Ratalack now holding the front line, number 35 for the Outcasts. Ratalack is going to assist Cougar Bait out of bounds twice. Once on the outside, once on the inside.
Both in turn 3. Some great defense there. Cougar Bait hoping to get through this 4-wall from Puget Sound.
Quadzilla trying to get around Sam Miller, 1939, Bruce Payne. Cougar Bait makes his way on the inside around Corporal Punishment for a 5-point scoring pass. Quadzilla ekes his way around Bruce Payne and Sam Miller. And Earl Slick with a shutout on Dragonaz, number 99. Dragonaz going in for a hit on Earl Slick at the back of the pack. Sam Miller now running the front line.
And right now, it looks like Cougar Bait and Bridgetown Menace happy to spend some clock. We're down to 23-37, and they're enjoying a little bit of a lead here. Quadzilla threw for 4 more points.
Cougar Bait threw on a scoring pass of his own for another 4 points. 23 minutes left in the second period. Definitive advantage here in favor of the Menace as far as points are concerned, and Cougar Bait just running out some time on the clock there.
All right, there's a green BMW in the parking lot. Your parking lights are on. Green BMW in the parking lot. Your parking lights are on. You probably want them off so you'll be able to drive home afterwards. Elysium back out there for Bridgetown Menace, trying to find some space on the outside and pushed into the wall in turn 1.
Scott Slamilton going in for a scoring pass. Hollywood working the front line with Dilly Dally, the positional block. Tries to shut down Elysium. Elysium taking a spill right at turn 3.
And that's a 5-point pickup for Scott Slamilton and the Puget Sound Outcasts. Elysium getting bumped into the middle of the track. He'll reset.
Corey Payne goes in for a shove there on Elysium, misses the mark, pulls out in front of him to run a positional block, tries to stare him down, holds him off on the inside. Clydesdale tries to take out Corey Payne. Corey Payne again goes in for a slide to try to shove him out.
Scott Slamilton found a semi-sized hole on the inside of the track and took it for a 5-point pass. Nice grand slam there for Puget Sound.
Nice control of speed there by Scott Slamilton as he realizes there's a formidable wall at the back of the pack, so he comes to a stop trying to reassess the situation, and he does a good job as he pulls through on the inside. He's going to pull through for another 5 points as Corey Payne and Dilly Dally currently sitting in the penalty box. Oh, and Hollywood, the pivot, also headed to the penalty box. However, no room at the end.
It was a high block to the face of Elysium, and that'll ruin your whole day when you get a high block on the face, Spider. 74, Puget Sound Outcasts in blue and gold. 112, Bridgetown Menace in gray and black. 21-10 in the half. This is the second half, so it'll also be the final half.
You are a genius.
Freddie Mercury raced out on the outside, almost untouched for lead jammer Bridgetown Menace. And Speed Dealer trying to make his way through that last line of defense, Sam Miller, and he does. Out of the pack.
Not good enough, though. Shreddy Mercury pulls through on the inside once again for 4 more points on behalf of the Menace. You know, we have representation of non-skating officials and referees from all over, so a big thank you to Miss Trial for making her way all the way here. 3 airports in all.
3 airports.
It was a long journey. As Quadzilla makes easy use of that inside line, pulls up lead jammer status.
And Cougar Bait out there for the Menace. Both jammers trying to size up the pack. And deposited on the ground is Quadzilla.
Hollywood pushing out Cougar Bait. And Cougar Bait makes his way around Corey Payne and Scott Slamilton for a 4-point scoring pass. Quadzilla gets recycled to the back of the pack. He's going to come in behind Jukebox Hero.
Demolition Man with some great defense out there. Back-to-back recycles of Quadzilla, and now Cougar Bait recycled as well. Puget Sound more than happy to play defense.
4 points on the scoreboard for Quadzilla, bringing the Outcasts to 78. The Bridgetown Menace currently sitting at 120. That could all change, though. Cougar Bait gets taken out by number 19, Corey Payne.
And a lot of help right now for the officials on the track as skaters are more than happy to call the fouls.
Corey Payne going to go to the box for a direction of play penalty for the Outcasts. Radillac now released.
And some celebration as Quadzilla getting the track cut. He'll go to the box for a minute, which puts Cougar Bait on the power jam for Bridgetown Menace.
And Cougar Bait now headed to the penalty box for a cut track as well, so he's going to sit down. That's going to release Quadzilla. But Cougar Bait will only have to sit there as long as Quad's out there. But pack advantage in favor of the Menace.
And there's a lot of blockers sitting in that box for Puget Sound. There was a penalty differential at the half that we noticed favoring Bridgetown Menace, and it seems like that trend's extended into the second half. Spider?
We're going to have an official timeout.
And we've got a bout coming up right after this one featuring 2 more great MRDA teams. So that's going to be the number 8 Deep Valley Belligerents against the number 2 St. Louis Gatekeepers
This is a huge deal for Deep Valley as they come into this. They're making a play to try to go to MRDA championships. They had a nice showing at the Big O earlier in the season. The Outcasts coming off Mohawk Valley, taking a pretty significant hit by Mass Maelstrom, so the rankings are going to change just a bit before championships.
And Deep Valley Belligerents, am I correctly pronouncing Ukiah, California? That's where they call home, all the way from California.
Corey Payne and Scott Slamilton sitting in the penalty box. Cougar Bait, the jammer, sitting in the penalty box, along with, I believe that's Rob Lobster. Hollywood tries to make his way through. He is lead jammer, but he gets infielded. He's going to make his way back to the pack. Earl Slick with a nice moving with him and Sam Miller and Cosmo.
Pack advantage definitely favoring Bridgetown Menace right now. One to beat for Cougar Bait, and taken down. And that's a low block right there.
That'll be 2 minutes in the penalty box this period. Not that he got to this time, but he's already sat once. So again, penalties becoming an issue here for the Outcasts. A little more penalty heavy in the second period for the Menace as well.
Both teams dialing it up here as we get down to the last 17 minutes of this bout.
Earl Slick goes in for a push on Scott Slamilton. Scott Slamilton evades him at the front of the pack. We're going to have Sam Miller recycle to the back of the pack. Rob Lobster now taking on Corey Payne.
Sam Miller gets some help from the entire stands as he's told that the star was inside out during the pass. He fixes it and jumps back on his skates.
Hollywood now struggling to get around Earl Slick. Earl Slick maintains front line. He tries to push out Scott Slamilton. Hollywood pulls through for a 4-point scoring pass on behalf of the Outcasts. Huge pileup with Corey Payne, Scott Slamilton, and Sam Miller. Cougar Bait with a force out on Scott Slamilton on the straightaway.
A little one-on-one there in turn one. That's a lot of ones. We got 86 Puget Sound Outcasts, 127 Bridgetown Menace. Puget Sound blue and gold, Bridgetown Menace gray with black. 15:45 remaining in this battle between 5 and 6 in the MRDA.
It was like you were speaking to me in binary. 111. Not only are people watching here in the stands, but this is on a live stream thanks to Blaze Streaming Media. A little love to Julia Childless, who is at home watching via the internet. Speed Dealer starting out as the jammer here, going against Shreddy Mercury. Hollywood working with Quadzilla the pivot, Radillac, and Bowser in the pack here. Oh, Shreddy Mercury tries to go. It's juke to the right around Quadzilla the pivot, and Speed Dealer around on the outside lane to pick up lead jammer status for the Outcasts.
Speed Dealer showing off that world-class speed as he went into turn 4. And he's back up against that 4 wall at Bridgetown Menace.
Oh, backblock penalty incurred by Speed Dealer. Power jam in favor of the Bridgetown Menace. Bowser trying to hold on to Shreddy Mercury. Quadzilla now last line of defense on top of Shreddy Mercury. Shreddy Mercury just looking for an opportunity
And he just has to nudge him out those last couple feet. He is picking up 5 points there for the Bridgetown Menace.
Well,
and
it was a nice offense by the Menace as the four-wall just hung back in the back of the pack. That strung out the Outcasts far enough that Shreddy Mercury just needed to wait until they were far enough in front.
And that's another 5-point pass for Shreddy Mercury. And it's a very small pack out there right now for Puget Sound. It's 4-on-2. I would call that a pack advantage.
Interesting philosophy. Quadzilla. Last line of defense, 5-point scoring pass for Shreddy Mercury, number 85 for the Menace.
Radalak and Quadzilla trying to square up against Shreddy Mercury. And getting through for another 5 points is number 85 for the black and gray.
Chuck Hendrick goes in for a hit on Shreddy Mercury right at the back of the pack. Nice assist in the middle of the pack by Demolition Man, 357. Speed Dealer now out of the penalty box.
And 4 points exchanged there at the end of the jam. And some energy from the Bridgetown Menace bench.
So we're going to go into an official review as Coach Beasy for the Outcasts comes to approach the referees along with Susan B., who is coaching along with Belle Starr for the Menace. Lines are actually being done by skaters for the Outcasts tonight. Or today. It's not nighttime. I'm so confused.
It will be nighttime later, though, Spider. We've had a tale of penalties in this one. So penalties in the first half heavily favoring Bridgetown Menace as they skated much cleaner, and that trend has continued into the second half.
A tale of penalties. It's not like a tale of two cities.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
That's right. Someone intentionally gave us microphones.
We're going to run through English Lit here in the second half. It's going to be super thrilling for everyone at home. For those of you that are at home, blue and gold is Puget Sound Outcasts. Gray with black trim is Bridgetown Menace. Our score 90, Puget Sound, 151, Bridgetown Menace. We're down to 13:21 remaining in this bout. And following this one will be the number 8 Deep Valley Belligerents against the number 2 St. Louis Gatekeepers. This is the first of 2 double headers today. You will not go for want as far as MRDA action right here in the big Rose City.
And there's a close bout tomorrow morning against the Gatekeepers with the Outcasts. Oh, Hollywood, Chuck Hendrick trying to get around the pivot, Sam Miller.
And
Nice assist by Clydesdale. Hollywood gets forced out on the straightaway. He's gonna get a cut track penalty.
all right, and it looks like he missed the point of no return, so he's going to have to skate all the way around.
That's right. He's gonna take his seat. That's gonna release the jammer for the Menace. The Menace just pulling down a beatdown here as they've maintained their lead since early on in the first period. Oh, Earl Slick with a beautiful assist there. Opening the door for Shreddy Mercury, number 85 for the Bridgetown Menace.
Shreddy is your lead jammer, and a 4-wall out there for Puget Sound.
Clydesdale goes in to take out Corey Payne, but kind of in the middle, we're going to have Earl Slick with Clydesdale on the inside. Corey Payne volleying for position with Clydesdale, number 13 for the Menace. Bowser working with Scott Slamilton in the back of the pack. Earl Slick just maintaining a watchful eye on his jammer. He goes in for another assist. Scott Slamilton recycling back, trying to stay out in front of Shreddy Mercury, knocks him out on the close straightaway as Shreddy Mercury puts his hands to his hips and calls it off.
Very definitive call off of the jam there. All right, so I don't know if it's open yet. It's hard to see from where we're sitting, but there may be beer downstairs. There may be PBR for sale downstairs right now. There's also merchandise. PMRD has some great looking stuff going over there.
There was the jam whistle Rattleack working with Quadzilla. Oh, Speed Dealer gets forced to the infield by the pivot. Juke blocks Hero. Defensive ball at the back. Nice shutout by Herman Munster.
Speed Dealer doing a good job of staying down low, out of bounds, and resetting before he came back in to avoid the cut. And he's assigned a cut anyway. He'll go to the box for a minute, which means Cougar Bait's the only jammer on the track. And he's chest to chest against Quadzilla and through. That's a 5-point pass, calling it off so that they have a fresh clock to get that power jam started.
71 points now separating these teams in favor of the Bridgetown Menace with 10 minutes, 13 seconds left in the final period of this bout with the Puget Sound Outcasts and the Menace. We're gonna start out this jam with Speed Dealer sitting in the penalty box for the Outcasts. Oh, and this is an interesting turn of events. Lest my eyes deceive me, that's Sam Miller donning the stars, the jammer for the Menace. Passive offense with Don Juan, Bruce Payne, and Cosmo.
Skating all the way around to avoid any unnecessary penalties is Earl Slick, and grabbing that lead jammer is Sam Miller for Bridgetown Menace.
Miller coming in for a scoring pass. Scott Slamilton trying to hold the inside. Thunderstruck goes in for another hit. We're going to have Chuck Hendrick trying to bridge the pack. Thunderstruck's forced to allow him to go, and that's Miller with 5 points on the scoreboard for the Bridgetown Menace.
Showing off the fast skates on the outside, and once again makes his way around with a big 180. Skating straight again, and he got 5 more points for the boys in gray. Back into pack and out of bounds. Great defensive effort there from Puget Sound. Speed Dealer up against that 4-wall out in front. And he is out of the pack, not your lead jammer. Sam Miller calling off the jam.
Sam Miller sees him coming up, wasting no time, calling off the jam, but increasing their lead to 175. The Outcasts at 90. 8 minutes, 30 seconds, about, left in the second half. Up after this will be the Deep Valley Belligerents against the St. Louis Gatekeepers. Oh, Captain Obvious goes in for a hit there on Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck has not been used in jammer rotation for the Outcasts at all, I don't think. But I'm sure all the population out there will correct me if I'm wrong. But he got through, picked up lead jammer status. He pulls through for a 4-point scoring pass, quickly calls it off. Trying to chip away at that lead from the Menace.
So once again, for those of you watching and listening at home, Puget Sound is in the blue and gold there at 94, and the gray with black trim, 175, is Bridgetown Menace, 7:30 left in this one.
Dilly Dally trying to hold the inside lane. Now Quadzilla with an assist. Corporal punishment there with a beautiful move as Scott Slamilton pulls through. It's 2 for 2 on behalf of the Outcasts, pulling down that coveted lead jammer position. Oh, wow.
Shreddy Mercury almost landed that one. Last touchdown out of bounds. He's going to be recycled into the back of the pack.
Dilly Dally working with Quadzilla, the pivot there at the back of the pack. Corporal Punishment then filling out that 3-wall. We have Scott Slamilton gets out by Don Juan. 5-point scoring pass for Scott Slamilton with 6.5 minutes left in the first period. Dilly Dally headed back to the penalty box for the Outcasts.
And Shreddy Mercury out of the pack now as well for Bridgetown Menace. A 3-wall out in front for the boys in gray and black. And it looks like a track cut assigned to Scott Slamilton. He'll go to the box for a minute, which means Shreddy Mercury, who just picked up 5, is the only jammer on the track for this power jam.
Corey Payne gonna try to stare down Shreddy Mercury. Earl Slick goes in to try to sweep out Corey Payne. Nice maneuvering there by Cosmo. Shreddy Mercury makes his way around Scott Slamilton. We're gonna get a forearm penalty assessed to Corey Payne. He's gonna head back to the penalty box. That's gonna leave Quadzilla and Corporal Punishment on the floor for the Outcasts.
Shreddy Mercury very comfortable sitting in the pack and utilizing some of this clock, or so it appears.
Oh, and the Outcasts just recycling blockers. In and out as Corporal Punishment now taking a seat in the penalty box for the Outcasts. So that's a full box there for the Outcasts. Scott Slamilton, the jammer, Corey Payne, and Corporal Punishment, the blockers in the penalty box. Five minutes left in the second half. Bridgetown Menace 185, Outcasts 103.
And Cougar Bait is on the track with the star for Bridgetown Menace. Radulac, last line of defense. Cougar Bait is by. He's your lead jammer, PMRD.
Cougar Bait gonna try to make way around Hendrick and Radulac. He's gonna muscle through Hendrick with a huge hit, knocks him to the infield, then he heads way back. Cougar Bait resucks to the back of the pack as Scott Slamilton comes out of the box.
Cougar Bait around the outside for 5.
Remember, right after this, we're gonna have the Deep Valley Belligerents from California taking on the St. Louis Gatekeepers.
Elysium wearing the star again for Bridgetown Menace. And that's number 11, Thunderstruck for Puget Sound Outcasts.
Second time as the jammer here today for the Outcasts for Thunderstruck. Corey Payne and Corporal Punishment continue to spend some time in the penalty box. Dilly Dally and Quadzilla working the back to back.
Elysium trying to get by that rear wall for Puget Sound, and he calls off the jam. No points awarded for either team. 103 Puget Sound in blue and gold, 190 Bridgetown Menace in gray with black trim. 3:07 remaining in this bout between 5 and 6. Number 5, Puget Sound. Number 6, Bridgetown Menace in the MRDA rankings.
There's the whistle by the lovely Rocket Queen. We're gonna have Speed Dealer pull through Foos to take lead jammer position. Corporal Punishment has been released for the penalty box. He's coming in the form of reinforcements for the Outcast. Rob Lobster then recycling to the front of the pack as he works with number, oh well, just kidding.
I want to do a quick shout out to our DJ this morning at Stovepipe. DJ Stovepipe turning the wheels over there and making the sound.
All right, third time donning a star here today for the Outcasts. That'll be Thunderstruck, number 11, against Cougar Bait, number 27. Cougar Bait trying to get around Quadzilla and Dragonaz, number 99. Dragonaz goes in for a hit.
Not a lot of space at the front. Quadzilla last line of defense, and Cougar Bait somehow kept his skates for lead jammer, Bridgetown Menace.
Sam Miller, the pivot, headed to the penalty box for the Menace. Quadzilla then vying for position, trying to get out, stay out in front of Cougar Bait. Cougar Bait then running into Speed Dealer, Quadzilla, and Dragonaz. Hunter then goes in for an assist for Speed Dealer and Quadzilla. Clydesdale taking out Quadzilla to the infield. Cougar Bait. Oh, he gets forced to the infield by Hunter. Wow.
Good morning.
I thought the end of the world was here and the aliens were landing. Zombies.
Cougar Bait calling off the jam. I need to change my pants. It's 111 Puget Sound Outcasts, 194 Bridgetown Menace.
All right, so the Outcast sitting in dilly-dally. He's trying to make his way around. He makes quick use even before the pivot line, picking up lead jammer status on behalf of the Outcast. Rob Lobster working the back of the pack with
some defense going on right now for Bridgetown Menace. And Dilly Dally with one to beat. He is by Demolition Man. That's a 5-point grand slam for Puget Sound.
Corporal punishment at the pivot, now sitting down in the penalty box for the Outcast. Dilly Dally now trying to make it around the strong four wall. He gets pushed out by 216 Jukebox Hero. Dilly Dally trying to make his way around Rob Lobster. And now last line of defense, Sam Miller. Sam Miller just running that stare down on him. And nice evasive movement.
Rob Lobster with a big hit there, but getting through is Dilly Dally. That's a 4-point pass.
And we now have Shreddy Mercury formulating that huge wall of menace at the back to try to shut down Dilly Dally. Dilly Dally tries to evade them, and he gets hit to the infield by the jammer, Shreddy Mercury. And we're going to get a no pass, no penalty as Dilly Dally, also a coach, has a great understanding of the rules and is a strong up-and-coming player, not just for the Outcasts, but for men's roller derby in general. And Shreddy Mercury with a 4-point scoring pass. Dilly Dally going in for another pass. Assist by Bowser Radillac trying to sweep out Rob Lobster.
Series of sweeps there in turn one.
Oh, Dilly Dally.
All right, so we're going to wait on this official score.
Unofficially, the score is now Bridgetown Menace 203, Puget Sound Outcasts 125. Pretty safe to say that the Bridgetown Menace will come out victorious over the Outcasts. Bridgetown Menace, a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, from right here in your own backyard, let's make some noise for PMRD's Bridgetown Menace. Your official final score, 127 Puget Sound Outcasts, 203 Bridgetown Menace.
Hugging it out. All right, stage, trackside. Put your hands out or together for the Puget Sound Outcasts.
I'm HP Shovecraft. It's been a super thrill being with all of you this morning. And the elegant and lovely
Miss Spider. Coming up next, we will have the St. Louis Gatekeepers taking on the Deep Valley Belligerents.